And Peter Bergen joins me now with this exclusive report. Peter, in addition to meeting bin Laden, you also visited the compound where he was killed. Tell us this third SEAL's account.
The third SEAL's account is actually very close to what Mark Owen told 60 Minutes. The point man saw bin Laden stick his head out of his bedroom, shot him, mortally wounded him, and then two more SEALs came in and finished him off on the floor, Mark Owen and the shooter in the Esquire article. So what the difference here is, in the shooter in the Esquire article, you know, as you said in your piece, shoots bin Laden while he's standing up. He looks like he's maybe going to go for a gun. The SEAL Team 6 member I spoke to said that's completely false. Bin Laden couldn't have reached for a gun because his guns were somewhere else, which they only found later. That bin Laden was not shot by this guy in the Esquire article in the way that is described. Now, Jake, of course, this all happened at night. They're all wearing night vision goggles. There's no electricity in the building or the neighborhood. It is a confusing situation. But that said, there seems to be a preponderance of people saying that the Esquire account is not an accurate account.
And what's the biggest discrepancy between these accounts? Is it just who pulled the trigger?
It's partly who pulled the trigger, and I think, you know, one account is much less heroic than the others. And it's interesting, the people pushing what they say is the real account is the one that isn't that heroic, where bin Laden is sort of finished off on the floor. He's kind of, there's a lucky shot, as opposed to a, you know, man-to-man, I'm standing up, I see you, you're
about to reach for the gun, right?
Yeah, and so that's the difference. And also there's a difference of opinion about which of the SEALs, you know, was really responsible. Now, the point man, everybody says in a million years he's not going to go public. I don't know his name. You know, the shooter, we only know a pseudonym, so a lot of this is hidden behind, you know, kind of secrecy. But that said, you know, we're getting a better account with every account in some senses about what really happened that night. We're never going to get to 100%. The building is demolished where this happened. You can't do forensic evidence. But nonetheless, I think that the person I spoke to and other people that I've spoken to suggest that the Esquire article was off.
And lastly, none of these guys are supposed to be talking to anybody.
Right.
What's going on?
Well, the guy I spoke to in SEAL Team 6 said there's, you know, serious lockdown on this issue. And, of course, many of them signed non-disclosure agreements, and they belong to a unit that actually is supposedly covert and is in many ways. So what's going on? You know, this is a huge event. I mean, somebody said to me who was in SEAL Team 6, this is, you know, people had a Neil Armstrong moment.
Right.
And it's hard to process that. How do you deal with that? Some people deal with it by saying nothing, others by saying something which may turn out to be inaccurate.
All right, Peter Bergen.